What's up, fam? Um, wow. Wow. I'm looking at the results from the semifinals. They just got posted, and I took a weird approach. I started instead of starting from the top or just search for my name right away, I started at the bottom of the list, and I think there were 500 people on this list. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. Instead, I went backward. So I just looked at every single name on that list of 50 people. I knew there's 451 down to 500. And then when you go to page 9, it's going to be 401 down to 450. And then you go to page 8. So it goes 50 people at a time as you go through these 10 pages. And that was my approach. And initially, I'm like, I'd like to place top 400. That'd been crazy, right? Because I was seeded like 1800 out of 1850 out of 2000 entries that qualified. But it looks like they only had 500 people in the online semifinals. So I'm going page by page looking for my name, and I'm like, cool. I cracked the top 400 because I didn't see my name in that bottom list. And then I go to the next page. I make it to the next page, and so that's top 350. I'm like, sweet, top 350. Let's go. I'm like, what if I make top 300? That's crazy. Top 300 in the world on the online semifinals. And name wasn't there, so I moved on. So I'm like, oh, cool, I'm in the top 300. Let's go. If I get through this next page, it's top 50 percentile. Like, you're above that. And we're already talking about the 1% club, like I talked about earlier. And I made it into the top 250. So then I'm like, holy crap. And I'm looking at, these people's scores, and I'm like, well, I'm still a good distance just based off of what their scores were. I was like, I did pretty well in these workouts. So I'm going through the 200, number 201 to 250, and I'm like, man, that's great. If I get past this, that means I've made top 200 in the world. And I did. I get to the next page, and I placed 195th in the online semifinals, which is such a blessing. Obviously, that doesn't include people who already qualified for the games. They still have to do some scoring reviews and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll get penalized. Maybe other people will get penalized. Maybe my score might increase or decrease based off of those. But oh my God, I'm just sitting there like I haven't felt this way in a long time, and I just am so. It's unbelievable. It truly is unbelievable. Because I know myself. That's the crazy thing, and I was trying to explain this to somebody, and I know myself. I have been doing this a long time. And when I say I looked at these workouts when they got released a week ago, so last Monday, and I see 185-pound thrusters with ring muscle-ups, and I even tried some 185 thrusters in a workout last week just to see what they felt like. I see the 30-inch burpee box jump overs with a 315-pound deadlift, and I know the history on my back, and I've never done and I did these 30-inch box jump overs as a practice. And what was the other workout I thought I was going to get time capped on? Oh, the handstand walk workout. 450 feet of handstand walking in a single workout. That's more than I've ever done in my life. And 30-pound wall ball for 135 reps. I've probably only ever done 50 wall balls in a workout with that thing. And I was like, for sure I'm getting time capped on those 3 workouts. I know myself. That's why I tell you guys to do all the time. Know yourself. Because when you know yourself, it keeps you out of trouble. It keeps you in these boundary lines, right? So when I say I believe I'm going to time cap, I really thought I had a good chance of time capping the workout, and I would have been okay with that because I've seen myself perform in the past. But the problem is I have 10 years of data. I have 10 years of history that I can look back and be like, okay, based off of my previous performances, this is what I anticipate going down in this workout here to come. The problem is when you start to adapt, when your body starts to change and you get better rapidly, you don't see the progress. You can't when you're plateaued, everything is very predictable. Like last week, this is how the workout went. Last year, this is what my time was. And you're going to be within a pretty small window of that. But when you start to change and you've made some leaps in your fitness, every workout when we get here on the gym floor, it sucks. All the workouts suck. They always suck. They're always high intensity, they're always heavy, you're always out of breath, you work on your cardio, all that kind of stuff. But when you're changing, you're the last one to see the change, typically. But when we did, it wasn't until probably like 3 months ago or something, we did Fran. And I ran Fran, I did Fran in like 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So it was like 1 second off of my PR. I missed my PR by like a second. But the way I recovered from Fran, it took me like 30 seconds. And when I had previously PR'd, that my all-time best was like back in 2019 or something like that. I was on the floor, Fran lung, didn't want to move for a good 5 minutes, at least. And the pain lingered. When I did Fran this past time, 30 seconds later, I was up standing around, going to log my score. My recovery was incredibly better. I knew right away I could have pushed the pace harder just based off the feedback on my recovery. But I knew myself, so I didn't. I knew myself, so I told myself, okay, break up 21. Don't go out too hot when I actually had more in the tank. So, and then again at Murph this past year, I did Murph. I had about an 8-minute PR on Murph, and my first mile run was like 8 minutes and 14 seconds, which is a faster Murph mile than I've ever ran with the 20-pound best. And my last Murph mile, this was the tell. This was the thing that made it so obvious to me that my performance has taken a leap, and I don't even know it's happening. I ran that second mile in 8 minutes and 40 seconds, and in the moment, it didn't matter because the mile sucked, and it felt like I was running at a 12-minute pace. But I came back in the door 8 minutes and 41 seconds later, and I realized right then, I was like, wow, that's faster than I thought it was going to be, faster than it felt. And in reflection of that, if I could run the mile that fast at the end, then of course my recovery paces during the workout, in between all the rounds of Cindy or whatever, of course I'm recovering at a more rapid pace intra. So I don't know, man. When I say it's unbelievable, it's because it's so hard. I've written this story, and I've been the narrator of my own story, for the last 10 years. I've seen it all unfold. So I don't know how to explain this. It is honestly surreal. the fact that I even qualified for semifinals was unbelievable. The moment I even comprehended that I had placed well enough in quarterfinals to potentially make semifinals was like, what? I did that good? So like, because I'm never in the arena with these other athletes who are doing semifinals. All I can do is measure off of my members, because you guys are my energy, my backbone, all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't feel like I'm getting, when I'm around you guys, I'm kind of doing the same stuff, whatever, just in it. But it's like, okay, obviously you got fitter, like a lot fitter in the last year. And some of these more obvious benchmarks, when I say Fran, when I say Murph, when I say the open, my open placements were better this year than they have been in a long time. And those are very like low level gymnastics, much more like cardio output type things. In quarterfinals, I placed better than I have in multiple years, and probably all-time best. Obviously enough to help me qualify for the semifinals. But then to do these workouts and place 195th out of 500 people in that field is crazy. You guys, I'm so blown away, and I'm so thankful. I know that like God has definitely pushed me in this past year in multiple different ways, getting me out of my comfort zone, making me more disciplined in areas of my life that I was lacking discipline in. And like I mentioned in my last video, if you saw it, is I always thought more work was the answer. I needed to. So every year at the Open, every year, the feedback is like, oh, I just need to work on my engine. I need to work on my aerobic capacity. I need to do more zone 2 work. I need to run more. And the other thing is like, I need to work on my core endurance. Some of those more midline centric workouts were like kind of obvious gaps for me. And you know what? I haven't worked on any of that. I did not. I backed off of my running last year. I didn't run at all extra. And the biggest change was the zone diet. I got onto nutrition. I took an alternative approach from what my old mindset had been trying to like hang on to for years. It's kind of like old bodybuilder's mindset. And I let go of that. I dropped my body weight from 225 down to 195, and now I'm back up around 205 and feeling really good about it. So metabolically, the engine, when you're putting the right fuel sources in and you're doing the maintenance work on your vehicles, it's going to run optimally. So like, this is an obvious tell for me that by enhancing the quality of my carbohydrates, the quantity of my meals, so going from 2 or 3 meals per day up to 5 meals per day, and lowering my protein levels to a moderate level of protein throughout the day, every day. And I mean, it's just a game changer. I've read the Level 1 guide multiple times. I've listened to Greg Glassman's speeches on nutrition and weighing your food and keeping your carbs at like a low to moderate level and letting your fats kind of be the controllable as far as your fuel source. And he even says, he's like, man, I eat meat and vegetables, nuts, seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. He said, he says it multiple times, I wish it wasn't so. I wish I didn't have to weigh my food and eat this way in order to elicit the highest level of performance for the human body. But it is that way. It is the only way. Every person on the games website, or like people training for the games and whatnot, they have dialed in their nutrition over many years, right? But most of them also put in more than an hour of workouts per day. I am so grateful that I'm able to achieve this level of fitness, and it's clearly a gift from the Lord that I have as far as being able to do this. But honestly, it's the consistency over a long time. 11 years, almost 3,000 classes I've been to, however many it is, I don't even know. And it's just the devotion to the method. And I would guarantee that everybody who is willing to plug in and reinvest into their fitness, into their health, keep learning, keep trying new things, keep basically like repent, like be okay with admitting that you have not done well in this category, and ideally have a relationship with God so that you can say, hey, I know I'm falling short. I can't do this on my own. I need help. And just stay in it. Stay into the next area of your fitness. And you will get the best out of your fitness. Fitness isn't everything. And middle of my workout yesterday and during the handstand walks, I was praying, thinking like, Lord, I don't care if I get this handstand walk unbroken. I don't care. I want it, but I only want it if you're going to bless it, right? Like if you're going to get me through it, amen. Because ultimately, if I fail this workout and I place dead last, I don't care. I know where my identity lies, and it is in you. It is through your lens that I want to be able to view myself, not through my own lens of how I do in this workout. That is, as a performer in CrossFit, as a leader for my gym, how I view myself, very different than how I should be looking at myself through the lens of the Lord. So, with that mindset, I truly feel like when I see these results, 195th out of 500 people, it is truly a surprise because I've let go of the identity of trying to prove myself, of inching myself forward in these types of events. I'm just so taken aback by it. So those are my raw thoughts. I literally just saw the score. Oh shit. Yeah. I thought I exited the camera. I just saw the score and I'm like, holy shit. 195th out of 500 people. That's crazy. And most likely it wasn't more than 500 people. It's because they saw the workouts and they didn't want to register for it because they knew they weren't going to be able to do a couple of the workouts as prescribed or whatever. So, and you know what's even crazier? I did this very quick bit of research because you can click on your drop down box and it shows your age. And right there, I'm placed 195th. And if I scroll down to the 200th placement, that person is 20 years old. The next one above it is 33, 35, 28, 33. And then there's me, 37. And then it's 25, 34, 34, 24, 21, 29, 27, 35, 34, 24. You see the picture here? I'm going up this and down this whole entire page, and not a single person is even my age. That's crazy. The fact that I'm 37, older than every single athlete on this, probably in this entire competition. I'm really curious. If I go to page 5, let's try to find one person. 32, 31, 34, 29, 26, 34, 30, 26, 20, 21, 34, 25, 26, 27, 33, 24, 33, 28, 28, 27, 29, 30, 25, 30, 32, 28, 29, 20, 26, 28, 34, 32, 24, 32, 25, 23, 33, 30, 35, 30, 26, 28, 29, 25, 31. Oh, there we go. 37. So, Mr. Richard Whitley, 246th place. I had to go 50 people beyond me. So basically 1 in 50 people maybe are my age or close to it. So that's crazy to me because I'm like, here, I always tell people, it's like, you don't call yourself old, okay? You age, but you can age well and gracefully, and you can get better, or you can consider yourself old and start creating excuses in your head that you're unable to do what younger people can do. So I'm right there in the fucking arena with people who are 20, 25, 30 years old, supposedly in their prime, and, you know, doing the same shit, so, or better. I don't know, man. God is good. It gives me a little bit of hope that as I continue to do CrossFit and like really just focus on the right areas of development, that I'll have a long career still in front of me, be able to do this for a long time. And whether I even make it to the semifinals or even quarterfinals next year, ultimately I don't really give a shit. Like, what I want is to live my best life, and you know, I want to be, this is my house. This is my house for my spirit. And I want to have a good, clean, efficient house. Okay? I want to be strong. I want to be independent. I want to be able to do things and have a high quality of life for the rest of my life. Right? That's the goal. If I can make it to 80 years old and I'm still being able to get up and down off the floor, climb the stairs, go on hikes, play with my grandchildren, then that's awesome, right? That's a really good life as an 80-year-old. So eat meat, vegetables, nuts, seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. Train CrossFit 5 days a week. Hard, intense. Dial back when your body tells you to dial it back. Hit your stretches and your cool downs, and get your 8 hours of sleep every night. Like, to me, just do that shit right there, and you're going to conform your house into a good, tidy house. And then second to that, start getting into shit where you can start working on your mindset, because I think mindset is everything. And if you don't create space for your brain to be still and to really know yourself, to know your thoughts, then I feel like you're running from the noise that, you know, that's what we need to do. So I'm looking forward to this next season, and I am prepared to do some soul searching and deep diving on my vacation next week. And until then, that's all I have for you. I just want to share those results, how unbelievably surprised I am by them, and how grateful I am that God has given me this body, you people, this opportunity to lead in a business that helps people create the best version of themselves physically, so that we can be the best version of ourselves spiritually and mentally for everybody else around us. That is why I do what I do. And if I was not walking the walk, so obvious, like I really think that I tried to do that as a role model for you guys the best that I can. If I wasn't doing it, I wouldn't think I belong in this industry or this business. But it truly is like I am doing it because I believe in it, and I believe in it because I want to help other people do it as well. So, all right, Godspeed. Bye-bye.